Okay, good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone is well. We are about just over a minute away from the main open. So we've had a channel going up here. I've got this drawn as a spiking channel. Seems to be working fine. There was kind of a higher low there, channel break, but the move's already gone really. So I just don't really want to get into there because there is a possibility that this thing could turn down. I can't trade anyway. My buy and sell things, everything's, if I right click there, I can't buy and sell till, well, for about a minute anyway, so keeps me out of getting in too early. So market is about to open. Not a bad day yesterday. There was some trades around yesterday. So my accounts are building up nice. So I'm in a good place at the moment. Hey, Tony, how you doing, mate? So, yeah, all good. So leg bounce. So I'm guessing, well, my guess is we're going to break, okay, market's open. We're going to break these levels here. Whether we do it now or whether we come back a bit first, it looks like we may do it now. We're only a tick away there. Okay, yeah. Are we going to take this one out? That I think's the main one. We got sort of two legs down. Well, we got this leg down in the morning, one leg up, and then a drop. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Exponential, how you doing, buddy? So it's looking rangy, although I'm not looking to short here as far as I'm concerned at the moment. We're still in this spiking channel. Hey, Speedy. How you doing, mate? Okay, high's broken. There is a level here. See, we got, it's kind of a leg down, one leg up, second leg up. So it's kind of a leg and a leg. So whether we're going to push up higher, my gut tells me we may turn down from here. But we'll see. So I haven't looked at crypto today. I need to keep on top of that. Elon Musk confirms his desire. Let's have a look. I think Bitcoin was at 90,000 last night, or very close to it. That's unbelievable, isn't it? Where are we now? 86,000. It was higher than that last night. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's at 85. We've had a bit of a pullback. It must have just clipped 90. Yeah, I think it hit about 90. We're always going to get a bit of a pullback. So let's have a look. Yeah, if we get a decent pullback, I may put a bit more in. I want to kind of ride it up every time we get a pullback. So look, Doge is still up 25% today. Doge has just gone massive, hasn't it? Hit 90. Yeah, hit 90. That's unbelievable, isn't it? I remember when it was 15,000, my G. It was a lot less than that at one point. It was 15,000. It must have been the early part of this year. That was kind of the bottom. But you know, I've kept out of Bitcoin and Ethereum. The advice I've had, you're never going to make as much gains. But if you got into Bitcoin at 15,000, it's gone up about, well, at 90, it's gone up about 600%. You're never going to make that much money, are you? Ever? You're just not going to make that much money doing anything else. I think the S&P 500 average per year has made about 10%. That would take 60 years to get that sort of money. I wish I'd have put a bit more in Bitcoin, actually. I did and R about it, but you know, everything I tend to read, you're going to make most of your money out the rest of coins, but you've got that lack of stability with the rest. Bitcoin's about probably as safe as you can get, really. I'm gutted I sold my Doge. Solana. I had 40 of them at once. That would have been worth $8,000 now. Bought them at 18,000, sold them at about 23, 24. Thought I was being really shrewd. It just goes to show I should have just kept hold of them. Okay, there's a possible failure here. Now, I don't want to go short here at the moment. Now, even though we got a channel up, It doesn't mean it can't just turn down. We don't have to get a break and immediately a new high. If it is in a range and it touches that top while it's in a channel, it can just turn down. We didn't get a failure anyway. You sold at 60. He did well. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's had a great year, to be honest, with his Solana. I've only ever heard positive stuff about Solana, which is why I kind of liked it. But it's hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? You just never know, but you did a lot better than I did. I did have a couple from last year, which I bought at about 175 on the way down. Hey, Neil, how you doing, buddy? I said hello to everyone, I think I have, but I'm not holding crypto anymore, no. I still think, I mean, we're just sort of really alt seasons, just sort of kicking off, really. I expect massive gains on some of them. I've still got some Chainlink, I got some Doge, I got a bit of, I got some ADA, I got some Ondo, I got a little bit of Sui. I wish I'd have bought that earlier, and some Render as well. I got some Gala and some H-Bar. So I'm just holding. I'm just going to keep an eye on them every week. Bought a new camper van. Fair enough. You can't argue. You can't argue with that. I did look into one of those. My sister and brother-in-law bought a new VW one. He took a chunk of his pension, and they go all over the place. They're always up the Lake District and always up at Scotland. They love it. Every weekend, their kids are sort of grown up now. They're in university, so every weekend they're just away. Okay, so that to me looks like a small break and a new high. So in fact, I've always fancied having a go at building one, buying a long wheel-based van, a nice van, couple of years old, and then building one, because the prices of the already done ones, the new ones, are astronomical. I think my sister, they've only got a VW one. They paid about £45,000 for theirs. They don't off-hold their money. They really do. So, leg and a leg. Let's see what happens here, whether this thing comes down or not. So, breaking a new high. So, you could sort of consider that played out. Well, it is played out. I was more thinking about it coming back in, but at the moment, I'm staying away from any shorts at the moment and longs for that matter. I wonder if So break, 2 pushes up to a new high. So I think it would be likely this may come in. We've had a leg and a leg. We've hit these levels, haven't we? So at the moment it's looking rangy, but I think in all honesty, I probably need to stay out of shorts just at the moment, because there's no guarantee this is going to come back in. We may get a couple of legs down to here and push up. We may end up extending this out to a 2-tiered channel. But at the moment, I think we leave that like that. You went along on the higher low, that one there. Yeah, my concern was kind of a triple test or this may, because I was looking at the market before and it's stuck around this area for quite a while, so I just wasn't sure whether this was, oh no, tell a lie, it was here I was looking at. That was after the market was open. Yeah, what concerns me is this leg down. You don't know whether we're going to have a break here, because we've hit this level 3 times, so I'd have to just sit out of that, really. But it's one of those things, if it's trades you take, we're all learning all the time. We all learn at different levels. We've all got sort of gaps in our knowledge. Having said that, Same again. It was a tiny bar, actually. So it's like that trade I took yesterday for a point and a quarter, so a point and a half. Point and a quarter it was. And I got out for a point and a half when it went down. Well, it went down a lot, didn't it? So I think what I need to be doing when it's looking like it could push down and I get in for such a small risk, I think it was worth holding on. We have a 1993 VW Westfella camper. It's a great way to go camping slowly. Yeah, they really hold the price well. Some of these campers do. You know, I've seen 10, 15-year-old campers for 18, 20,000. It's crazy. Yeah, I always fancied. I watched a few videos on building your own. It's something I fancied doing at some point. You save yourself a lot of money. I'm quite hands-on. I enjoy a bit of DIY. I'd rather build it than sort of buy it, if you know what I mean. So I don't know. Maybe at some point. But yeah, they are great, aren't they? I mean, the good thing is you can keep, you keep a little stock of knives and forks and a little bit of cutlery, and some blankets and what have you, and a couple of, a quilt and a few bits and pieces, and all you got to do is nip and get a bit of shopping and you're away, aren't you? In fact, we took up, I remember as a kid, we did a lot of camping. My stepfather was in the military, so we were always away camping. We had one of those, he used to borrow one of those old-fashioned green, thick, heavy-duty army tents. And we used to get a load of rations from tins and we used to disappear somewhere. So I did a lot of camping as a kid. So me and my wife, about 8 or 9 years ago, went out and we spent about £1,500 on a load of camping gear. Started off with a roof box for the car. When that filled, we started off a load of rations. We started off with a roof box and ended up getting a trailer. And it was almost like moving home every time. And we did a bit of camping in Wales, and if anybody knows anything about Wales, one thing it does a lot is rain. So it was a bit of a tough experience. There's nothing nicer than sleeping under canvas when it's absolutely pissing down with rain. That's lovely. But the trouble is, when you're we got there and we unpacked and went to put the tent up, and it was absolutely lashing down. So we were soaked. Everything was soaked. And I remember we lay the tent out, started pegging it down, put all the poles up, and my wife went in there with a couple of towels mopping up the water, and we noticed there was a peg sticking out. And that's the worst thing to do. So I wasn't messing around taking a tent, so I stripped down to my shorts and went in on my stomach. But the ground was all wet, and I came out plastered in mud. But it was a bit of a tough experience. And the trouble is, if it's wet when you take the tent down, you got to take it out in your garden, put it up, let it dry. I just thought it was a ball ache. Nice when everything's set up, but it was a pain in the eye. It just feels like you're moving home every time you go. But you live in an RV full time with my friend. Oh, fantastic! I'll tell you what's quite popular over here. One thing we've got a lot of in this country is narrowboats or barges, depending on which way. I've always fancied going on a barge in holiday. You sort of hire one of these long 50, 60-foot boats and you kind of live on it and you're just cruising down canals all day long. You see a lot of the countryside. And a friend of my wife's that she works with sold the house and bought a narrowboat, and they live on that full time. They can kind of move wherever they want. They just sort of pull up anchor and away they go. Yeah, I thought it'd be quite fun to do something like that. We're talking about a barging holiday next year because we got 2 cockapoos. So if you go abroad, we kind of don't like leaving them really. So that might be a nice option for a barging holiday. I mean, the Norfolk Broads on the sort of East Midlands of the UK is beautiful area there around Oxfordshire and all that. So there's some great places. And I kind of like the idea of sitting there with a hat on, captain's hat on, and a single malt in my hand and just cruising out in the summer. So we may do that next year. It's not cheap. It was about £1,500 for a week, but a lot cheaper than going abroad. And that was in July as well. Once you start going on holidays, in the school holidays, the price just goes astronomical. I'm not even sure whether this is a brake, because this is coming away from the top a bit, so I could probably squeeze it. Travel with my van a lot. Yeah, I'd love to. Me and a friend talked about it a couple of years ago. I'd love to go to Iceland, because you can rent like a camper van and drive around the coast of Iceland. I kind of always wanted to see the Northern Lights. You could see them in the UK about a month ago. I got some fantastic photos. It was stunning, but I'd always wanted to see them, so we considered that as an idea. We still may at some point have a lads' week away, cruise around Iceland. I had a friend who worked out there for a couple of years, but I love the idea of that. So I'll tell you what, we could squeeze that in there. So I'm even thinking that's not necessarily a break. That seems to be working nice. But you're Norway, aren't you, Jan? I bet that's spectacular as well. Cold. I know my stepfather was in the army. I think they did their Arctic warfare training in Norway. One thing you've got is cold weather and snow. But there's something nice about snow. I remember when I was 20, I was about 21. I went over to Europe by myself. I was due to go with a friend, but he backed out the last minute, and I got the train from Shropshire, where I live, down to London, and then I think it was Dover to Ostend on a boat, and then it was a train right the way through sort of Belgium, Luxembourg, France, Switzerland, and that's fantastic. Travelling Europe as a youngster, I really enjoyed. Spent some time in Austria working, then went to Val d'Isère in France for about 6 or 7 weeks. Back when I was a chef, you could pick work up quite easy back then. Devon, how you doing? Made 3 points on that here, mate. Hit good on you, mate. So we got kind of a leg and a leg back here. This is sort of crunch time. Is this going to continue up? Or is it going to come back into here? Looks like I'm getting the hang of it. It takes time, but you do. But what I find is just when you think you've got it nailed, something just surprises you. I've had lots of times where I think I've cracked it. But what I find is the biggest hurdle is the emotional side of it. And I heard that described as an emotional dial that you have turned up when you start, and slowly, like a dial on an oven, slowly you dial it down and it becomes less and less of a problem. So, possible second entry long. I'm sitting tight here at the moment because this could be a breakout. Although we got this channel up here, we've also got a range, I think. So it's possible this could come in. So around here, it could go up or it could come down. So I'm kind of just staying out of this. We are sitting on top of there, which is encouraging. But I mean, this thing could drop now, or it could push up. Yeah, there's your first entry. Well, I was looking at it, obviously looking for a bullish bar. Well, it is a second entry there with the bars naff, so it is 2 legs. Fell second entry long. No, I wouldn't take a short at the moment, just in case. It's hard to know whether this thing is going to push up and retest it, or whether it's looking at the range. See, I've got this as a possible range as well, but Thomas Wade has just got this as a channel. So you can see the difference in schools of thought. It could go up in that channel, or I've got it in the range. So I kind of like to cover both avenues. So there's a second entry long there, which is triggered. On my other chart, the bar's not looking too bad, although, yeah, the bar's looking okay. But for me, I'm going to sit tight here just in case this comes back into here. It may do. Yeah, my first time trading, I had no idea. Put some money into a live account, trade in NQ. No clue. Yeah. You can understand how many people do that, can't you? I bet thousands of people lose a fortune by doing that. I'd only been trading for a month and I gave my job up. So it just goes to show you. It does look easy. When I started happened to start trading, well, I'd done 6 months and then I came over to futures, and over a few days we just had a really nice chat, and I was just buying at the bottom, and I was winning 3 out of 4 trades, and I thought it's easy. So I gave my job up, and that didn't go down well. I'm staying out of a long here. Now, this doesn't look like a bad entry for a long, but the context is all wrong here. So I'm staying out of this. I start with options now. They look much more cumbersome. Yeah, I've never tried options. I don't even fully understand how they work, but there is a possible channel down here. See, so long gear for me is a no-no at the moment. I'm not saying it won't push up, but this is the same chart really, and we haven't actually got a second entry long there. Each of those bars are lower, but on this chart we have. We've got a pullback there. So the trouble is with this, that's what I don't like to see. It triggers and starts to go sideways, which makes that bar vulnerable. So there's a channel down there with a break or whatever it is. But I wouldn't take that at the moment, purely and simply because, well, there you go. Purely and simply because we've broken out of what looks like a range. So, has this one got stopped out? No, it hasn't. Not yet. But that's not what you want to see when you take a trade like that. Sometimes you get away with it, but most of the time you won't. It comes back that close. More times than not, it'll stop that out. Yeah, I need to sit tight here at the moment. Sometimes it'll do that and come back down again. But we've had a breakout of this range. So I'm calling it a range because we kind of got 1, 2, 3. We've got a bunch of pushes up. So it could come back into it. Or it could continue up. Oh, there are options for futures as well. See, futures, it's way more complicated. It sounds way more complicated than it is. It's just another way of trading. There's no difference, really. A little bit more of a difference for you US guys. You've got that is it called the pattern day trading rule, something like that. It doesn't matter in the UK. We don't have that issue, but I don't think you can trade stocks, can you, unless you've got $25,000 in your account. It doesn't matter over here. You can trade anything, and I think one of the good things is nowadays you can trade with a tiny amount as well. I know on currency you can trade with pence if you want. Pattern day trading rule, yeah. Strange, isn't it? In the US, you can buy guns in shops. You can buy grenades in shops. You can have a license for an air rifle in the UK, but we're allowed to trade with. So we have some strange rules, don't we? You know, the US are usually is sort of a lot more open and allow people. We're kind of a bit of a nanny state over here, but you're not allowed to trade because of the pattern day trading rule, but we can. So it's weird how some of these rules work. But yeah, you can't buy guns in this country. In fact, I've never seen. Well, I did a little bit of time in the reserves, so I've seen a pistol, but failing that, you won't see any weapons in this country at all. Police don't even carry them. We do have armed units, but police on the streets don't carry them. We can't buy grenades, but that would be awesome. See, I read something once that you can go into a certain shop and buy grenades for $10. That was a few years ago. How true it was, I don't know, but I wasn't shocked. In fact, I did see a program once that if you signed up and joined or opened up an account with a certain bank, you got a shotgun. which I thought was kind of odd. You know what I mean? Banks and shotguns don't tend to go together very well. There was a guy that, I forget his name, a filmmaker that did, I think there was a big shooting in the US and there was a filmmaker that did something. I don't know whether it was Bush or Bush Senior or Bush Junior, Bush Senior that was in office at the time. Specialised in things like grenades and machine guns, yeah. Excuse me. Fancy stuff in Nevada. Yeah, you can't get stuff like that over here. You can't. They do have gun clubs, but everything has to be super secure. I don't think you can keep certain weapons. Shotguns, I think you're allowed. I used to go clay pigeon shooting a bunch of years ago. There was a retired officer that we knew that ran a shoot once a month, but anything apart from a shotgun, you just won't see in this country. Okay. So, channel down with a break. My guess is we're going to make a new low, and if we do, those two bars will get stopped out. Another reason why I didn't take those, it may work, but my gut feeling is they're going to get stopped out because we're kind of at the crunch time. We got a channel with a break. My guess is it's going to push down below there, but it could continue up. Yeah, it's kind of getting a bit congested now, which tells me it could do either or. In fact, I think some states you can actually carry, can't you? Openly carry. I mean, that would be crazy in the UK, stuff like that. But even though you're a Western Western society, you're still very, very different. There's a lot you can do that we can't. I wonder if that'll ever change. Trouble is, the gun lobbies are so big, aren't they? I wonder if ever things will ever change in the US. Concealed carry license for Florida. Yeah. I mean, at some point, the trouble is, it's kind of always been the case. Over in the UK, a couple of neighbours get into a bit of a dispute. There may be a few fists thrown. But when people have got guns and when people have maybe had a bit of an alcohol and stuff like that, it's very, very easy to pull a trigger, isn't it? I wonder if things will change. I understand the idea. I understand the fascination of weapons. You know, we're guys, we like things that are big and heavy and metal and that go bang. It's just our nature. So, you know, I think absolutely rifles, hunting's a big culture in the US, but I think automatic weapons, I think maybe they need to reel back on there. Keep maybe pistols, keep rifles, shotguns, but some of these automatic weapons, you know, you can create mass casualties in a pretty short time. I was watching that program I think it was in Vegas, wasn't it? They had that big shooting from Vegas. And he was firing automatic weapons into a crowd. Must be scary as hell, being in a situation like that. Stop people from throwing fists. Turn into a shootout, yeah. So that's the downside. Human beings really we don't think clearly sometimes, do we? Sometimes, you know, you get a bit worked up, especially if you got a little bit of alcohol in you, and things happen, don't they? I'm staying out of this at the moment because we got a channel down, one attempt to push higher. This is another attempt to push higher. My gut is this is going to come down because we got a channel, two legs. My gut is this is going to come down, but I could be wrong, which is why I'm staying out of it. It's kind of a leg and a leg as well. Let's see how this finishes. So tempting to take this. On this chart, it's kind of leg and a leg, isn't it, after this? I'm very tempted to take this. But but what it is congested. So let me have a look. Let's see. I'm going to get an order
Order
ready on this
submitted.
chart. Let's see how this works out. Oh, it's turning out too big. That's the problem. Oh, balls. Yeah,
Order
too big,
canceled.
guys. Moves already made. I kind of like a channel. 2 pushes up, but look at that. There's no space left, unfortunately. My gut, this was going to come down and make a new low, but we're a tick or 2 off that. We could get 2 legs, so it may come down enough, but I'm not getting into a 14 tick bar. That's madness. You may have got in on an engulfing there, but because it was sideways, I think I'd have probably avoided that. So we could get a leg and a leg. But unfortunately, the move's made, really. I thought that was going to come down. I just didn't think it was going to come down so far. Channel, couple of legs. There we go. Wonder would work. That other chart is exactly the same as this one. The only difference is, you might know, most of you know anyway, is if you go into data series, that looks like a little fist with a square around. If you're going to data series, I've got break end of day deselected. And if you deselect that, it makes the bars ever so slightly different. If you look there now, we're a bullish bar here. That one's still red. So they're slightly different. So what it effectively, the chart's still the same, but what it effectively does is sometimes when we have a break and a new low, we're looking for a bullish bar to go long. If you don't get a bullish bar here, the context is right to go long. You've got a second crack of the whip. So it just gives you a second chance at getting a better trade. Getting a better signal bar. So that's why I have it there. But yeah, it's exactly the same. The only difference is it's got break at end of day. Break at end of day deselected. And then you reload it and it'll be slightly different. You can see it's almost a full bar there, whereas it's more of a bearish pin bar here. So it just gives you a better chance of getting a trade. This doesn't look like it's coming down. I'll tell you what I'll do quickly. I'll get this on the screen for you so you can freeze this and have a look later. Where is it? Double chart settings. Let's have a look. Yeah, I'll bring this on quickly. Taylor did a little talk. He's been trading this way for a while. But that's what it is. I'll leave it there just for a few seconds, which explains how it works, so you can re-look at the video later. It shows you to deselect it and days to load, and a little bit more information. And I'll bring it up, and there's a little bit more there, which then shows you a few pros and cons. So lots of people use them now. And it's a shame sometimes if you get a lovely setup, maybe a higher low, but the bar's naff, on your second chart, you got a second chance of getting a better bar. Because sometimes, I mean, even if it comes down to here, that is not a bullish bar, is it? That one there, it's a bearish pin bar, but it's still shot up. So we know usually in a channel, it comes down the bottom, pushes to the top and so on. But if you don't get a decent setup, it gives you a better option. So that did what I expected it to. Unfortunately, it never triggered on this other one until it was kind of a bit congested, but leg and a leg. If that finished up here, I'd have had a go at that. If it finished at just about the close of that bar, yeah, there's plenty of points there, but that measured leg, let's just get that correct. So there and there. Yeah, so leg and a leg. So let's see now where price goes, because there's always a possibility it could continue up. I thought we may end up getting something like that, but this is starting to look like it may come in. There is a bit of support there, so it may bounce here. It's hard to say. Hey, Darryl, how you doing, buddy? So that's why I was avoiding longs there, because to me at the moment, I think the strongest signals for me personally is that this is more like a range. So as I mentioned, we had a break there. We tried to push higher, but didn't, because that channel literally pushed straight through the top of that range. So this to me looks like it's on its way down now. So so let's put that. So let's just expand this a bit. I'm looking where there may be entries here which could present some liquidity and maybe some strong areas. I'd like to get a bit of a pullback. If we can get a second entry short or a couple of legs up, may get in this to continue down. Yeah. So we've got 2 legs down. To me looks like 2 legs up. 1 leg and 2 legs. Leg and a leg, and then a strong push down. So my guess is it's going to tackle this bit here. This kind of just looks like a couple of legs up and then maybe a couple of legs down and test these lows. So that's what my thoughts are. 2 legs down, 2 legs up. This is looking pretty bearish. We've had a little break, but not a pullback. So it'd be nice to get something like that. Couple of legs up there and then leg and a leg down here. We've had that overshoot at that range. So I think it likely we get one down here as well. That's pretty bearish. So this looks like it might be working along there. So if we can get a couple of legs up, bigger channel there. You're about down, are you? Bigger channel there. Consolidation. Push phase, not consolidation. Be nice to get a couple of legs up here. That's quite a good strong move down there. A couple of legs up here. Get a nice setup here. I'd be inclined to take a short there. Now, on my other chart, this is looking like one channel. For some reason. So let's just kill that and rejig this. Yeah, see, this doesn't look like it. If I go from there, we're kind of missing all this, and that to me looks like a really nice, neat channel with a small break. So I'm going to keep an eye on both of those. That See how it's touching the top to there, and then we come down to the bottom, then go across right to this. So that's the good thing about having two charts. There's a slight difference. And what the difference will often be, it may be a full red bearish bar, or it could be a bearish pin bar. Now, if we've got a bearish pin bars here, you could drag that chart tighter to the top, whereas if it's a full red bar, it may be out here. So there is a little bit of difference. My first trade done. Good on you, mate. So the fact that it's had a break and a new low would not put me off taking a short here, because that other chart, everything looks like it hasn't had a break up until now. I like the fact we've come right to the bottom corner and gone straight across to the right top corner and then come down some more. At a long place, pretty place, 622, risky, but it works, 622. Yeah, see, especially with only 4 ticks, you've got, well, 5 ticks to push through, haven't you? You can get away with that a bit more, especially when we're down to the midline. We're halfway, aren't we? So I'd be thinking about a pullback. Yeah, that's the thing about going for a point. You have got more flexibility. So I'm just going to bring this in a minute. Let's bring the whole thing in a minute. This is my other chart, and I'm just bringing it in because we're looking at the same thing there, but obviously that's showing us more a full channel. So if we can get 2 legs up, that's the beauty of having 2 charts, both support level, yeah. Looking to short at the EMA. Well, I'm looking for a short, but that we've got to get the right setup. I mean, it may not. It may push back up, but my guess is after that, usually when we have a break of it, we usually make a new low after a down trend. But at the moment, this is just on its way up, so I'm staying out at the moment. But yeah, short is my preferred option at the moment, but look at that, that's looking different now. So let's move that out of the way now. We may come and test this area. Channel down, leg, and a leg. Yeah, see, after that overshoot, well, that break of the range, and we may push through and retest this area. And we got the open here. So there is also some support across there. You can see it here, around about here and there. So we may test this out. 61.8 for the bottom. Yeah, about 61.8 from the top to the bottom. See if it does that. It may continue up. This to me doesn't strike me as it's going up, because it seems I don't know. Maybe it is. That doesn't look right to me. It's all this space looks a bit weird, but sometimes when you squeeze it down and look a bit, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say. This does look more rangy, which is why we kind of struggled here, where I thought we may do. So I'm looking for a bit of a push down and another attempt to go higher. Bigger range, yeah. At the moment, I'm leaving that above it because that fits. If I take it up, it doesn't look terrible actually. And it is touching a few times. Tell you what, I'll leave that there. I'll just put that there as well. Because that was the original height I had. So I just want to remind myself that that was previous. Was previous top of what I consider was a range. Second trade done and dusted. Are you? Good on you. Channel down. One attempt to push higher. I'd like a second attempt, a leg and a leg, and then try and pick up a short to come down. So my gut is this is coming down, which would take us, so leg, which would take us around these lows. I wonder if there is a bigger channel there now. First entry. I'd like another push up here. Leg and a leg. So I'd like to have a push up again and trigger that bar there, because there's going to be traders buying that or thinking about buying that coming back up here. So I'd like to push up here, trap in some longs, and then hopefully down. Sorry if I'm waffling a bit here. Sometimes I get midway sentence and kind of drift off my thought process because I've changed my mind. Yeah, my gut is this is coming down here. Unfortunately, there's no way in. leg and a leg. Second entry short up here. Okay, channel up, second entry long. May trap some. Now, it's not a long failure on this, but it is on my other chart. So I'd like to get a little bit higher. Channel up, leg and a leg. There's bound to be some buyers here, I think. Thinking visual second entry long. I'd like to come up here a bit and then turn. I can't sell it. It's too far from that EMA, regardless of how small the bar is. It's just not worth it. In the grand scheme of things, that's a million miles from that EMA. Not only that, well, the move's already made. I was hoping we'd get here and close here or something. Yeah, I think that bar gets stopped out for sure. But the move's over, really, unfortunately. Look. So there you go. Double trap here. Longs are still in. Shorts triggered. Is this going to push up to the EMA, stop out the short, and then come down and stop out the long? For me, the market's coming down at the moment, so a long trade here is likely to get stopped out, I think. It may get to that EMA, and if it does, it'll stop out that sort of failure. But I'm staying out of this. It'll probably stop out both, this one and then followed by this one. That's why trading that far from the EMA is super risky. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it was a decent setup, I'd take it. You know, as far as I'm concerned, the range is coming from here and here. There are places you can trade, you know, decent setups here going up you could take. And there was a high low there. It was a small risk, but I didn't like it because we've just had what looks like a failed break out of this. If you've hit it 3 times, it could come down. But I think a few people took it. I'm pretty sure Thomas Wade recommends to stay away from trading in consolidation. Yeah, absolutely. It's going sideways. Well, this is, but this isn't so much. This is still clear. That's why that is a failure. It's trapping the longs and stopped them out. You can trade congestion as long as you can read it. And on that chart, it's very legible. You can clearly see we're just moving down. Not only that, a bit of an overshoot there maybe. So my gut is this is coming down. Looks, it's just my other chart. Yeah, this is definitely looking a little bit more congested, but it is still kind of working down. I wouldn't take a trade here anyway. Purely and simply, it's just too far from that EMA there. You need to get to there. The closer you get that to that EMA, the safer it becomes. So that bullish bar, the second entry long, triggered and stopped out. Let's see if this pushes up now and touches that EMA and stops out that short. Yeah, it's only because I've got that break at end of day, but it does give you more options. So if you took that long, trigger just stopped you out. Is that no, it hasn't. It hasn't stopped out that bearish bar yet. So on this other chart, it is starting to stack up a bit now. So what I'd like to see here, and I like this, channel down with a break. I'd like to see a proper failure on this. There's your first entry. If it pushes up here, you could trade that as a fail breakout. So we got a sort of channel down, one attempt to go higher, two legs down, second attempt to go higher, fail breakout of a range. It's got to push up. If it pushes up, it'll trigger that bar there because there's going to be traders expecting this to go long. I'd like to push up, then come down nice and bearish, and I'd trade that short because this to me is looking like it's going down, but it could still mess around and have a few fail breakouts before it does come down. I can't see shorts jumping in here yet without having something a little bit more attractive, and a bar pushing up then dropping bearish is more attractive. So if I get into a trade on that chart, I'll show you, but this is looking very similar now anyway. Can't trade any of this anyway. It's got to push up really. See if it pushes up on this chart. There's going to be some buyers there. There's a nice bull bar there, so if it does trigger that bull bar and sits there bearish, there's going to be some stops below there and below there. So that, I think, then would give us that second leg down. I'm just going to draw it from there. Although it may be higher, but I just want to know where it's likely to go. So if we do get a failed breakout here, then we may get a decent trade here. If I take one on the other chart, I'll show you. I'm just going to get an order ready because sometimes
order submitted
quite quick. I like that so far. So we need another push up now. Push up. Okay, it's triggered that bull bar. That's good. Oh, no good. A leg and a leg.
Order cancelled.
Working. Just the bar's naff. Yeah, it is a failure. I'm just not a massive fan of that bar, really. It could go up a little bit more. If I look at on this chart, channel down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt, it could push up a bit higher. So it's just something about it I didn't like. And there's not much space really to the bottom of the range here. If we can get below there, that will give me 3 points. But see what I mean? It's pushed down and already backtracked a bit. So one leg, we could get a second leg up here, stop out everything around here, and then come bearish. And in fact, if it did push up, that would be a second entry short as well. It's just not, I just don't like this. So we need to push up a bit. Bearish bar there. I wouldn't take that how it is. So I'd like to see that push up, stop that out, and that will give us our second leg then. Whether it work or not, I don't know. It may just come rushing down. Will it work for a scalp? Quick point. 10k is it? Yeah. It's a very small bar, isn't it? But it's probably going to get stopped out, that, isn't it? There we go. Stopped it out. Will it come down now? Yeah. I don't mind leaving it. It's not a terrible bar here, but it could go up a little bit more. So I'm quite happy to leave that. But there is a breakout pullback, but we've already broken these lows, so I probably wouldn't get back in here. Maybe it'd be okay. Let me have a look. It's tempting as a lower high. Something about it I don't like. Excuse me a second. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. There is a lower high there, but I'm sitting tight here. It may work, but it just doesn't strike me as a great place to jump in, really. I would have to be up here. It's kind of stuck in the middle of it there, so for me, I'm leaving that alone. That doesn't look too bad. So hidden second entry short here, maybe. Something about it. Yeah, it's just, it didn't trigger anyway, but see, looking at this chart here, I think it's coming down. It's working down. But looking at my second chart, there could be if some traders going to be going long here, we may get a second entry short. So we come down, we have one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher, and then it fails. I'm still thinking bearish at the moment. See how it finishes. I could take that up a bit to there and bring that down a little bit to there. That would work. I want to break above that bullish bar, really, if that would be a hidden second entry. Yeah, we need to break above that bullish bar then, really, to trap some longs for me. It's always better, I think, to trap a long, because then when you hit the stops, that gives you that little bit more momentum. 20... We'll push up a little bit. There's no reason what to trade long from here or short from here. I'm guessing there's going to be a ton of liquidity above here. There's no reason to go short or long. In fact, on this chart, it's starting to look like a triple test. Reason to trade from this level, nothing. I'm only going for sort of a couple of points, a few points, so I don't need to get much here.
Order submitted.
Hidden second entry short. It's not a big risk, so I'm going to have a go at this. We'll confirm that line as well, so I don't think that's a bad trade. I got in a little bit later than I wanted to, but it's still only 2.25 points. Looking on this one as well, it looks a bit better on this chart. Second entry short. One push up, second push up. So, we'll see. It's not a massive risk. It is confirming that top. I don't like the look of that, though. Oh, definitely not. Hidden second entry short off the key entry point. That's what I'm looking at. I'm going to give
order filled.
PA cancellation rejected. What's that? Okay, yeah, I can only trade one of my accounts now. So that's not a terrible loss. 22225. I can live with that. Which one? 11 I've got to go for now. So that's the only one I can trade now. That would be better. So I don't need that. So possible second entry short. 1, 2, 3 triple test maybe. Started moving the order when it got triggered. Yeah, see, I was looking at this Coming down here for a second leg. We had one push up and then a second push up. It never triggered on this one, but it triggered on the other one. So channel down, one leg, second leg. That may be a better option. That will be trading the breakout. I can only trade one account here.
Order submitted. Order filled.
It's a very small risk. It's going to be longs there for sure. Fail break out the range. Go for a few more points here as well, because if this does break down, I expect it to come below there. But that one there, I like it. It's trapping some longs. The higher low, it's trapping the higher low. Going to be some stops there, isn't there? It's kind of what I was looking at before, but I think I just got in a bit early, so it's one of them things, isn't it? Wait for it to push below there, and then I'm going to drop my stop in. As soon as it pushes below that bullish bar there, I'll drop my stop in. In fact, I might put it there. Come on. There's a higher low there. I expect it to take that short out. Come on. It's not a big risk. Be some stops behind there for the higher low. I'll be surprised if it doesn't break below there. If it does break below there, I expect it to get down here. So we'll see. Come on, 2 ticks. That's a lower high there as well.
Target filled.
Did I get there? 400, I think. $400. That's kind of what I was expecting with that one, unfortunately. That's the one I was looking at. We got a channel down, one leg up, second leg up. It never triggered on this one, but it looked okay on the other one, and that was kind of my thought process. We got a channel down, one push up, second push up. It was only a small risk as well, really, which is why I took it. Hidden second entry long off the key entry point, but it went up a bit more before it eventually went down. And that was a second entry short and a small risk. It's going to come by the lows of there. I should have held a bit, but oh well, it is what it is. On my end, yeah. I mean, we got this leg down. We've had a couple of attempts to push higher. I expect this to come down here now. I was tempted to hold. I should have done, but oh well. At the end of the day, I'm up a bit on this one now. $134 after fees. So yeah, it was 240, 344, 374. Yeah, when I'm looking at the trade, I kind of ignore sort of comments, but you know what it's like when you've had a loss sometimes. And 400 quid is it's not bad. I'm all right with that one. Yeah, it is confirming a bigger channel, isn't it? It's a shame, really, because that was a hidden second entry short which triggered, and it also confirmed a smaller channel there, which I liked, and it wasn't a massive risk. It was a $250 risk, which at the moment is not that bad, really. I've got no issues with losing $250 in a trade. It's when you kind of get more when it gets to the 350s and 400s that bothers me. So I'm down 232 on my 3 accounts, and I'm up 134 after fees on my 1 account. So a $300 trade, next trade will put me back above where I was. So, you know, I've got no issues with losing 250 as a loss. It's relatively small. But it's a shame there. I thought that looked okay. And it looked nice here. There was a second entry short, and what I like about it is it triggered the bull bar. So as it came down, I thought this is coming down below here and here. Sometimes you get in a fraction early. But my experience is every time something like this happens, you learn a bit. It tweaks that brain of thinking, because a lot of the times you get in too early, it trigger you, stop you out, and then give you a beautiful bar there. But trade, I'm done. 4 points. Good on you, mate. Good on you, Daniel. So yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm up a bit on the 1 account, down a little bit on the others. In fact, sorry, it was 225 the risk. It's 232 with fees, so it was a 2.25 point risk. But I don't mind that. But that was the better trade anyway. Hidden second entry short, trapping the high. It's always better to trap a buy. You're trapping the high low there, and there we go. But I got out for 4 points there, which was around about there, wasn't it? It did come down a bit more, but I don't mind. 4 points. I usually go for 3, so 4 points. I'm all right with that. I thought it was worth holding a bit at least. You know, sort of down below there for me. That was the main one. Once it got below there, I expected to push down a bit. But what I'm feeling is as I'm seeing things like this, whenever you get these failed breakouts, they usually work really well. Usually push straight through the range and then come back and retest the underside, which it kind of tried to there, depending on where you got that, probably down a bit. Depends where you look at it, but whenever you get these failed breakouts and a nice setup, they usually blow straight through. So as my experience grows, I'll CPI tomorrow. What you did there? CPI. I may have an evaluation on CPI. Someone else took it and who's still in it at the moment, but he took it. It was a bigger bar for him. But, you know, as your experience grows, you'll identify places where it's likely to move. And if you can get a small enough risk, it's worth holding on. I did take a little bit more than normal there, but I'm all right with it. Have you ever used runners? Not really. I played around with them on an evaluation, but no. See, Matt, when Matt talks about runners, he usually talks about using a maximum of 25% of your trading. So if you're trading 4 contracts, trade 1 as a runner. But I only trade 2, so I kind of don't. And not only that, I don't know. I get jittery when I'm in a trade. I kind of like to get in and out of them. But at some point in the future, I may. I don't say definitely, but I do. A lot of people I've seen taking trades, it comes back and gets them so many times, and I'd rather get the profit. You're guaranteed the profit then. But Max seems to think runners work. Thomas Wade seems to think they work. So, but obviously depends on how you manage them. Thomas Wade's okay at taking them out. I watched some of his older videos, and it come down 6 or 7 points and come and take him out for break even, and I just thought that kind of doesn't make sense to me. So he was kind of looking for 10 or 12 points at least every time you're experimenting. Yeah, what I suppose you can do is you could work out, couldn't you? I mean, based on that, I was out for, what did I do? Come out for about 4 points there. So I'm guessing kind of there I was out, wasn't I? So as that took me out, my stop will be up here. So probably take it down to that swing and then maybe that swing. So if I got in there and I added at that swing high, say there, excuse me, there's 3.25 points. In fact, to be honest with you, when it got to the bottom here, I'd be inclined to take him out. So I'd be inclined to take a runner out at about there. It would make sense, wouldn't it? I mean, you could leave it, but if it's come down 7 points, you might as well take it. What you don't want to do is end up having another push up here and it takes out your runner, your stop. So, yeah, you can work out what you'd have done. So that probably would have given me 7 points as opposed to 4. So, yeah, maybe. I know some people trade 2 contracts and they do 1 on a runner and 1 on a scalp. Yeah, see, I can only lose 1 loss on my 3 accounts and I'm done. It stops me having a big loss there, because sometimes when you've had 1 loss, the chance of having another one on your next trade jumps up dramatically. So I like the fact that I can just move on to my 1 trade, 1 account. In fact, this one is $300 away from a payout level. I'm going to take these up. My goal is to take these up. My target is to take these up to 5,000, and then try and get a $1,000 payment every month, and whatever else I get on the top, I'll allow it to grow. And then when I get to 7,000, I might try and take 2 a month or whatever I can get. Hey Ryan, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, I usually, when I've played around with them, sometimes I'll do that. Well, sometimes if I'm taking a normal trade and I want to let it run, I'll put it, +1 tick, and that covers you. That covers your commission, so at least you don't lose anything. Eight points then, yeah, exit, yeah. I'd be inclined to get out down here, and that kind of would have worked out right. Can you control the size of a replicant, like setting a limit or a specific size? I believe you can, yeah. That's not it, is it? Where is it? Where is my replicant? Oh, I've shut it down. Control the size. Yeah, you can. You can have like 1 account. You can set individual contract sizes for each individual account. I'm trading minimum 5 contracts. Yeah, I think Mac talks about 25% maximum. 20% the total, yeah. Okay, I'm just going to take a quick 5-minute break, make a cup of tea, and I'll be back. So let me just click on my 5 minutes. Okay, quick cup of coffee and I'll be back. 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. So that worked really well, actually. 2 legs down. And that looks like we're at a measured move as well, or close to it. Yeah. Which will break these lows. Mm. To be honest with you, I've tried before, but we ended up getting loads of spam. And I spend, this is the one that I tend to use. So if you want to pick my brains, mate, you can private message me or email me anytime you like. I've got no issues with that. I chat to people all the time. My message is always open. But you can chat here as well, or email me, private message me. But I've tried before. It just takes up a bit of time to sort of manage it. the trouble is with this is it's Thomas Wade's one. He charges, I think it's $100 every 3 months. So you have got to pay for this one. That's it. But to be honest with you, there is some good traders in here. There's some solid traders, and he does post his chart consistently. He posted that 8 minutes ago. He posted that one a minute before it. There's Taylor as well. He's another one then a few minutes before that. So he does post his chart regularly in here. It does, yeah. Yeah, it does. I mean, I will say he lets me use it for free. Well, the Discord, that is. He's kind enough to do that. But yeah, I like it. See, I've only been trading 4 years, so I'm by far not an experienced trader. So I like to sort of, I mean, you guys can see my chart, so you can sort of compare your own to, but I kind of have a look on his, which sort of just helps me if I'm not sure. It just gives me, it's nice to chat with other ideas. Apart from those YouTube videos, there's more, I think. That's Gold Pot. There's more. Yeah, I think Thomas Way is a solid trader and he's an experienced trader. He's got loads of videos in the academy. And it's great to have this as well because, the trouble is with Discord, some Discords, there can be just a lot of chit-chatting about rubbish. This one, there's some solid traders in here. That Marco trades in here. Taylor trades in here. There's Marco. So Taylor trades in here. He's another good trader. Marco and Taylor have their own little thing. And obviously Thomas Wade. So I like this. I think there's some good people in here. And this helps me, if I'm not sure what prices are doing, it's nice just for me to confirm, my sort of thoughts. So, and he lets me use it for free. So he's kind of, that's the Discord, by the way. So, I like it. You're in Thomas Way too. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it's worth the money, and it's $100 3 months, which is $30 a month. Put it this way, I think was it Nick told me that What's-It charges quite a lot more than that. Joe, is it Trader Joe? He charges, I think, I think for what you get with Thomas, I think it works out $30 a month. I think it's a bargain, to be honest with you. He's an ever so nice guy as well. And as I say, there's some good traders in there, so it benefits me. The trouble is, you can pay such a lot of money, can't you, for training and courses and that, and it works out $30 a month. I think that's peanuts, to be honest with you. And same with Mac as well. Mac charges $125 a year, and it's been that price as long as I've known, certainly for the last 4 years, 3-4 years. Trainers learning, yeah, absolutely, yeah. That's kind of. There was 2 reasons why I started to stream. One, I thought if there's people watching you trade, you're less likely to do something stupid. So there was some accountability. And when I first started to learn to trade, a guy said to me, surround yourself with people you want to be like. So I thought you learn more when you mix with other people in the same position, because you learn what they know, they learn what you know, and there's bits missing in your skills, because we're not sort of institutional traders. We don't have a proper structured way of being taught and support. We have to kind of support ourselves. So I like the idea of chatting with people all over the globe, to be honest with you. It does get lonely, absolutely. Stuck in a room by yourself, it's quite stressful, and it is lonely. So I think it's nice to have other people to chat to. I love it. And when I say you guys can message me, I genuinely mean that. Whenever I wake up, I always check my phone, and because I find I have an interest and a passion for trading, I'll happily talk about it. So, any of you guys, got any questions or you just want to chit chat, private message me, absolutely. It's nice to have some other people to work with. I consider you guys as my work colleagues, It's nice to have other people to mix with and have a bit of a giggle at times, and just mess around a bit. And hopefully help each other out, give each other a bit of pat on the back sometimes, when you need it. It's nice. I like it. In fact, I think I kind of feel strange. In fact, it's rare now I come to the charts when I'm not streaming. It kind of feels a bit weird not to be talking when I'm streaming. It's been kind of my little safety sort of belt, really. But I'll never charge anything. I'll never open any training, anything like that. Doesn't interest me in the slightest. I won't charge anybody for anything. As far as I'm concerned, you guys use my code and that makes me some money. And that gives me a part-time wage. So as far as I'm concerned, you support me and I'm here for you. So you can't look after each other. But yeah, so many people, they start their own training. They start charging you astronomical fees. And it's wrong in my opinion. If you've been a trader for 25 years and you've got serious skills, then that's a different story. But I'm just like you guys. There's guys in the stream more experienced than me. There's guys in the stream less experienced than me. So we kind of help each other out. Listen while you trade, yeah. See, for me as well, especially, a couple of people have said to me, why don't you focus on what you're doing and not stream? Well, I've always been a thinker out aloud. I don't think quietly in my head. I sort of talk to myself. I know it sounds a bit weird, but it's surprisingly common. So when I'm talking through a setup, when I'm talking about what I'm seeing, it helps me hear it clearly. So it absolutely helps me. And I can focus on what I'm doing as well, because I'm looking at what I'm doing and what I'm talking about is kind of secondary. I've got a mouth that kind of works by itself. So it doesn't affect me. In fact, I feel strange not trading when I'm not streaming. I bought 20 accounts in the past 3 days and use your code. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. It gives me, I'll be honest with you, it gives me around about $1,000 to $1,200 per month. Changed down to British pounds, it's around about $800 or $900 a month. So that's a reasonable part-time wage. Excuse me. With my wife's wage, that allows me to stay at home, and I also have an ADHD daughter as well. So it's kind of win-win. So I appreciate that, bud. Thank you. Need to start streaming. Yeah. I mean, you've got to stream full time. If you go out to work, you earn more money doing that. But it works for me. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm here for you guys. You guys help me out. So, which is why I'd never start charging anything or anything like that. I know Wilson does it a bit, charges for his streams, and I know Trader Joe does as well. And a lot of them have Discords where you pay, but as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't do it. I've had loads of help from people. And as far as I'm concerned, people help me when I'm starting, you pass it down, don't you? Since the EMA is between channels and the price reaches the top channel line, would you still short? Price comes to EMA. I wouldn't, not this close to the lows, because this to me is a range. So see how we went up in that channel, then we had a break. We had a couple of little pushes and it came down. So the trouble is, see that bar there? It's not at the bottom. It's not at the measured move, but you don't know whether traders are going to consider that at the bottom and price is going to start to move up. So I think you probably could. But once we get so far to these lows, I always avoid it because you never quite know when prices are going to turn. Having said that, I had my original channel here, so we had a breakout. So my thoughts were we may have one this side, and funnily enough, that measured mood takes us out of the channel. So if we had two legs up and a really big bearish bar here and it looked right, I probably would. But this low, not for me. A couple of legs back up, taking us up to here, I'd have a go. Context is absolutely 100%. Do you know something? I don't bother counting anymore. I just look. And if it looks right, I take it. After a while, you stop counting. It's more about what it looks like. Like Mac, we talk about second entries. You hear Mac talk about hidden second entries. It looks like two legs up, and that's what's more important. If the context is right, you know, when I first started trading, I was taking second entry longs in a downtrend and wondering why they weren't working. And it was Daniel who put me out, and he went, "You're looking for patterns the wrong way." I thought it was a second entry long. Let's take it, but yeah, absolutely. Context is everything. It could be a setup, but if it's in the wrong place, maybe pointing in the wrong direction, it can hick you up. And that's where experience really counts. I'm much better at trading than I was, much better. Lots of trades. I still get caught out by that one. That to me looks like I got in a bit earlier. Now, it may have worked, and it was a small risk, so I deemed it. But then sometimes it'll trigger you, stop you out, and then give you something even better. So I've thought that to myself sometimes, just be a bit more patient. And there you go. You get in a bit early, triggers you, stops you out, and then you get a beauty there. That is a second entry long, two nice legs off that key entry point, and then it took off. So when you lose a trade, you actually get a lot of value from it. You really do learn something. See how it's starting to feather out here a bit? It's starting to get a little bit congested because people are unsure what to do here. Do we go any lower? Are we going to bounce? And there too, we both working. Yeah, it happens. I as long as I take what I believe to be a setup, I've got no problem with it losing. If I got into it because lack of patience, and I got a little bit, that's when I get a bit frustrated. Trading journal video like you did last year. Sorry, mate, I was half reading something. Let me read that again. It's a genuine person. I appreciate that, mate. We'll need a trading journal video like you did last year. Trading journal video. Trading journal video. Trading journal. I'm not sure what it was, mate. You might have to update me a bit there, bud. I can explain why I got to lose a trade now. That's key as well. Now, when I first started trading for the first 2 years, I put my charts on the Facebook group and asked, give me some feedback. And at times, you weren't sure why things went wrong. It's very rare now I don't take a trade that I know what went wrong. And usually it's something like that. I get a little bit impatient getting a bit to it. Now, it is a hidden second entry short. It did trigger that bull bar, so I think it has merit. But what I didn't realise is there was a bigger channel. I did try this, but I not when it hit there, and it kind of didn't work. But now that's come into play there. That makes perfect sense. Second entry short, trapping the higher low and down. But next time I see something like that, something in my head will just go, hold on a minute, something doesn't feel right here. And that's what it usually is with me, a feeling. And when you're taking a trade, you're focused on that picture. You're glued to it. You're invested in it. So it's not something you forget easy. And these different pictures of setups and the context, when you're taking them, do burn a little picture into your brain. And for me, the best way to describe it is you get like a memory bank of pictures of setups in your head. And when you get something like that again, it's like, oh, I've been here before, something doesn't feel right. And that's how it usually manifests itself with me. I either like it or I don't. Sometimes I think that's okay, and I get in. And that may have worked because I had a channel like that. So it's just one of those ones sometimes that might require a little bit more of an advanced setup. But touch, it kind of confirms it is a hidden second entry. We did touch the bottom 3 or 4 times, so I don't think it was a terrible trade. But I missed the fact that we got a bigger channel, which is why it stopped out, went up to the top, and that's when it turned. So, but I've got no problem with losing them because you do learn from it. But yeah, you'll get better and better at it, and it'll start to become like a mundane, boring job that you've been doing a long time, and you'll be able to just have a quick glance at it and go, I like it or I don't like it, or something just doesn't feel right. And when you get that something doesn't feel right feeling, that's because you've experienced this setup before and something didn't go well. And I've described it like, you know, we've all driven to a place and thought, I've been here before. And you remember back and you remember you went there once 5 years ago. And so you get that little thing that just shows itself and says something's not right here. And when you get that feeling, listen to it, because that's experience speaking there. But it is nice when it starts to come together. It's a nice warming feeling that you start to think, I'm starting to learn here. And all those times that you are frustrated and pissed off and you're blown accounts because you made stupid mistakes and you punish yourself, you realise we're actually teaching you. Hey Sam, how you doing, buddy? I took that same trades. Both of those? That was the mistake. That was where I learned my lesson. But yeah, it's one of those ones that I don't think in my initial look at it is bad because it's touching. It is a hidden second entry short. It is strapping the bull bar and it is the bottom of a channel. But yeah, I didn't think it was a bad trade. Another reason I took it is it was a small risk as well. But I missed the fact that we got a bigger channel here. And when I saw that one, I thought that is a second entry short. That is a small risk as well. It's got to be taken, that one, and it worked. Yeah. At the moment, the bars aren't too bad, and I've got no issues at all with risking 2.5 points, 2.25 points. Because I know taking my next 3-point trade will get me back in the green. So you work, Sam, are you trading, bud? Your trading journey, how you develop yourself to become better as a trader and the psychological side of emotions. Very helpful. Yeah, I'll do that for you. Yeah. Oh, you are trading today. Good on you, mate. I'll do that for you. Yeah, I'll have a chat about what's helped me. And if it helps you, no problem. Yeah, absolutely. I'll do that. Absolutely. I'll do something over the weekend for you. I took a trade yesterday and lost. The trade was long after an overshoot. And about a week or so back, I saw Thomas Wade take very similar trade and lose. That was the thing. Why he took that after an overshoot? Yeah, usually after an overshoot, I avoid that next second entry long if it's an overshoot going up. List of your finest malts as well. Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I see Thomas Wade take some setups and I think I wouldn't take them. And he gets stopped out. I see me taking some trades and getting stopped out and he doesn't take them. So I think sometimes we think these experienced traders who make a fortune never lose a trade. Absolutely wrong. They certainly do. I was watching a little bit of Tom Hoggard trading the other day and he was down $14,000. Tom Hoggard was the one that wrote, he's a trader, trades, I think he was trading a German market, I think. And he'd taken 2 losses in a row and was down $14,000. He's the one that wrote Best Loser Wins. He does lots of speeches and talks at various places, and 2 losing trades in a row, down $14,000. So don't think if you lose a trade, it's because you're newer, or you're not good. Tom August seems to trade completely different from what he talks about. Yeah, he does, doesn't he? Would be in the psych ward if yeah. Do you know, I will make a video actually. I'll do it the weekend just to talk about how I felt during, because I think it's good to listen to other people, and because it's surprising how much you all paint the same picture. Appreciate your stream, thanks. Been at this about 4 years, same as me, bud. Lots of work, hard time, reflection. No longer looking at individual candles, more like penguin trades. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. You don't pick small stuff anymore. You're looking for a picture. Like, for instance, that. Now, I like Penguin as well. I take a lot of his trades, and Mac actually does, to be honest with you. Usually, when we get those two kind of legged down, we haven't there. Well, we have, but I prefer that down here. But yeah, it is looking at the overall context and picture of the market. That, to me, was a trade that was going to work. You could say down, one attempt high, second attempt high. But yeah, you'll start to find your own rhythm after a while. You won't bother counting. You don't need to. Because you'll understand what's happening by the context. And that tells you're getting experience. But yeah, 4 years is what I've been doing it. And you can tell how much you grow, can't you? And it's a nice feeling that you start to understand how price works. And when you keep out of trades that look a bit risky and they would have gone against you, it does make you feel good. Feels like all the hard work pays off. Losing his part absolutely is, yeah. It takes a while to learn that. But when you see people like Tom Hoggard lose 2 trades and be down $14,000, it kind of makes you feel kind of warm inside. Not for him, but for the fact that... But that's the key. How you handle the losses. And at some point, I do find now, sorry if I'm rabbiting on a bit today, but I do find now the losses don't affect me because I've come to accept that it's part of it. And the better you accept the losses, the less chance you've got of taking a loss straight after. Which is why at the moment I only have 1 loss on these 3 accounts, and the 4th account I'll carry on. Because if you still feel like it affects you a bit, I think you're better off setting Guardian Angel to just allow you 1 loss. That way, the damage will never be bad. I mean, I'm down $225 on 3 of my accounts. I'm up 134. So 1 3-point trade tomorrow or the day after will get me back above where I was. Let's have a look. Doug. How you doing, mate? For example, your second entry short is downtrend, break first attempt, second attempt, higher key entry point, and then below the EMA, also 1-to-1. I miss losing, yeah. I can see this trend break on the upside, and then I'll jump on if it starts on the upside. See, my gut feeling is this is going to come lower. Because 1, we got a measured move here. 2, we got lows of the day here. And 3, I had that initially. So this to me was a failed breakout. So whenever we have this, what I think's a failed breakout, we often have one the other side. So let's see what happens here. That may go up, but my gut feeling, usually, if there's any slight bullish bars off that bottom, usually it'll trigger them and stop them out. Cleanest of trades. That's the key. That's the key. In all honesty, I think that's a clean trade. That one there. Picking off the key entry point, it's a little bit of a range, failed break out of a range, second entry short, trapping a higher low. I think that's a clean trade. A really clean trade there, for instance. So that one there, it is a hidden second entry short. It is off this key entry point, but there was something bigger there, which is why that one failed. But yeah, you get clean trades and they just work, and they work well. So yeah, but it does take time, but you do start to feel yourself understanding what's going on, and you'll get better at staying out of those bad situations. And when you do, you start to feel good about it. There's nothing more that I like when I see a second entry long that I think this looks has got trap written all over it, and it triggers and stops out. It's a nice feeling, that, because it just tells you you're starting to get in tune with what's going on. More experience gain is the more I disagree with a lot of the trades that gets Mark in hindsight. You on about with Mac? Yes. I think sometimes, because when I first started and I saw Mac marking lots of trades, I kept saying to myself, why am I not seeing these trades? Why is he marking a dozen trades a day? And I'm struggling. But what I actually realised in hindsight is it's easy to mark trades after the fact because you know they worked. Which is why he does. I would prefer him to mark 2 or 3 really good quality setups, and then maybe say you may have taken that one if you wanted to be risky, but I would rather see him pick the best of the best, so I understand what goes on in his head. I don't need it now as much as I used to, because I understand more about how the game works now. But, you know, Mac will mark 10 or 12 or 15 trades, but he will openly say he takes 2 to 3 a day. So if there really was that many trades in a day, he would be daft not to take any more, wouldn't he? Yeah, it does. Absolutely, Doug. Yeah. On a good trade, price moves, which is why I go for 3 points, because the way I see it is if I wait for good, solid trades, they're easily going to give me 3 points. That, unfortunately, just got caught out there. Maybe a bit of inexperience, bit naivety. It may have worked, but that was the golden one, in my opinion. Off this key entry point, second entry short, 2 legs up, break out the range, trap in the higher low, and look how many points that made. I mean, just in that first push before we had a proper pullback, it went down 7.5 points, which is why I decided to go for 3, because I figure if I get into a quality setup, it'll easily make me 3 points. And if I can get 2 quality setups in a week, that'll make me $600, which is over $2,000 a month per account. And even if you take a loss out of that, 8 trades, one of them a loss, you're still doing well. Mac Mart losing trade. Yeah, I wish he'd be a little bit more open. It's just the way he is. I think it means it personally. But I'd love him to say, that is the quality one. That is the quality one. The rest I think are okay. I learn to stick with the easiest trades. That's enough for him. Never had too much to do with Vlad. I know he is, but I never spent much time on the forum. I didn't realise there was a forum there for a while. Someone's taken a trade here, that bar there. It's not something I would do personally. It's too close to these lows, but if you're... How many points is he going for? 2 points. It's only really a first entry as well, so we could get 1 leg up and a second leg up. In fact, we could even get maybe a triple test or something, but I wouldn't take that. Where's he going for? 2 points. I do think it'll get down here, but it may push up Channel down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt. It may push up and above that bar before it does come down. So that's a reason I wouldn't take that. You'll ignore a close buy high and low, 2 to 3 bars. That loses, but then he'll mark a high low, 8 ticks away. Yeah, it's because he marks them after the fact. After the fact, it's completely different. When you know where price goes, you can't unsee it. You know, you can mark it. I wouldn't be surprised if Mac marked that. Did it go for a scalp? No, it didn't really. If that worked, I think Mac would mark that as a hidden second entry. Because it is 2 legs up, it is trapping the long, but it didn't work for me. Maybe a bit congested, but obviously there was a bigger picture going on. Yeah, you when you know what happened, you can't unsee that, and you can't think in real time. The only way really you can think in real time is when you're trading in real time, and you never quite know. It's great for me to get in a trade there and get 3 or 4 points, because my gut is that's going to work. You don't know how far it's going to go down. Otherwise, you kind of jump in. But see that one there, channel down, 2 pushes up. I think if this pushes up and stops that out and gets a bearish bar, I don't think that's a bad short. Channel down, 1 attempt higher, second attempt higher. I want it to break above there first. I'm going to just... Now, I still think this is going to go a bit lower. I'll see what the risk is.
Order submitted.
Channel down, 1 attempt to go higher, second. I'd have preferred to stop that bar out, really. If it'll stop that bar out, it may get a bit higher. 1, 2, 3. It has good. I have to take a bit less points here. I hope it just doesn't... It's not too big. I don't mind this. Let's see how it finishes. Ooh, what's that like? I don't think it's terrible.
Order filled.
I don't want to come out there, though. I'd rather come out there. In fact, if it goes below there, it should make that anyway. Channel down, 1 attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher. It's probably going to be some stops there, but I don't want to push me luck here.
Target filled.
What did I get there? 150. Okay, that'll do me. There is a bit of support there. I think it'll get through it. So channel down, 1 attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher, trapping the longs, stopping that short. I had a feeling it was going to do that. But I'd rather just not push me luck. I think that was a nice trade. Thomas didn't get filled on it. That's surprising. So a couple of people didn't get filled. I actually like that. Yeah, channel down, 2 attempts to go higher, and a second entry short. It's going to have a breakout here, in my opinion, because the breakout at the top, I originally had the stop that my line there, and it played that measured move. So, 0.5, I can deal with that. It's just a shame, really. I've had a good day on the one account. It's just the others, that's fine. Is Thomas trading sim or live? No, he trades live. Well, as far as I know, he trades live. I think he goes for 7 contracts on one of them as a runner. So, second entry short. It's a nice little trade, that. I like that. So, plus 1.5 points. I didn't want to push me luck there. probably why he didn't get filled. Well, to be honest with you, I had to move mine down at one extra tick there. Yeah, see, it closed here, and it came back. It did move quite quick, but I liked it. Little channel down, 2 attempts to push higher, second entry short, trapping some longs. I think that's a lovely little trade, that. It's just a shame about that one, especially when you have that one and that one. It's not often I get 5.5 points in a day. It's just a shame, that one, but it does happen. And as far as losses go, 2.25 points is about as good as it gets. So right down to the bottom there, that's about as nice as a channel looks, actually. It's fitting beautifully here, here and here. We've had a matching breakout. That's originally where I had my channel, and we had a breakout there, so I expected the same there, and it didn't fail. Lovely little setup, that. Really nice looking clean trade. Lovely little channel down. And 2 pull back, 2 little legs back. So channel down, 1 attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher. Lovely, really nice little setup there. There's been a couple of nice setups today. That one I loved, and that one I loved. It's not often I can say I've seen 2 lovely trades in a day, to be honest with you. Trade copied, and absolutely 100% Replicanto. Don't get anything else. Replicanto works like a dream. I've had it now for about 1.5 years, and I have never had a problem with it, ever. I started with the Apex one, but it's just an absolute ball ache. But Replicanto, love it. Absolutely love it. I mean, trading's stressful enough as it is. I mean, no disrespect to Apex, but they're not really a software company, so whereas Replicanto are, you get regular updates. Bad about the Apex one. Well, I do believe they've updated it, but when I had it, it just wasn't triggering accounts. It was just, to be honest with you, it's been 1.5 years ago since I've had it. Does Replicanto work with Topstep? It works with everything as far as I know. So I can't even remember now. It's been 1.5 years, but I just had problems after problems with it. And, you know, trading's stressful enough as it is. And back then, when I got a bit more stressed, it was just frustrating. I do believe they've updated it, but I mean, since then I use Replicanto, and I love it, to be fair. So don't change what isn't broken. We're not too concerned about taking the short into support. Yeah, which is why I got out before the bottom. But my gut feeling is any bullish bars that close to the bottom, that far off the bottom, which is quite a bit, in my opinion, are going to get stopped out, because there's another area down here. Now, that trade there I mentioned, I would have avoided purely and simply because there's not much space there. That there is space. Now, my gut feeling was that was going to break through all this and hit that measured move, which is why I took it. So I still had enough space, but I went out for 1.5 points, which was there, which was before the lows. So I thought I liked the trade that much. I thought it was worth $150. It's free money, really, isn't it? But I didn't want to push me luck. Ordinarily, I would have gone for 3 points, which is there, and that would have worked. But once it broke below, there's a triple test there, so someone's going to take it. And once it broke below there, you can see how it reacted. But I got out early enough. So I absolutely think that's an absolute little beauty. Channel down, 1 attempt to go high. It's a beautiful 2 legs up, lovely little second entry short. So thanks for explaining. Yeah, I mean, normally I wait for 3 points, but it was that nice a trade. It seems a shame to throw away $150. But my gut was it was going to push down. See, originally that red line is where I had my range tops. So I consider that as a breakout which failed. And whenever you get a breakout at the top, more often than not, you get one the opposite side. So my gut was this was going to come down. So I could have held, but I kind of like to just, you know, because it was so close. Someone said to me, would you take a trade that close? And I said no, based on that. But when that pulled back enough and gave us a lovely setup, that was well worth it. Back to the main trend line. Yeah, I think that's an absolute beautiful little trade. It's a really nice little obvious trade. It's clearly a second entry short, and it's clearly like a little penguin trade there, 2 legs up. Mac will absolutely mark that one. So it's just a shame about that, really. If I wouldn't have got caught out there, that one I'd have definitely taken. It would have been a different story today, but that's okay, I don't mind. Yeah, I think that's a lovely little trade. I do 2 clear legs back. And right down then, right to the bottom. And that measured move's played out. So just get scared. It's there, the large trend in play, and it doesn't trigger off. Yeah. Yeah. Do you know, I used to find I was scared of taking trades a lot. Now, I think after a while of knowing you can't let it affect you, I've heard that so many times, people saying, yeah, but you can't be scared, you can't be scared. It's not that easy. But after a while, you'll start to... I said something a couple of days ago or yesterday. When I take a winning trade, I rarely take another one after in the same session. And I started thinking about that and thinking, why not? So if I take another trade, does it matter if it's in the same day as a last trade, or does it matter if it's the following day? It shouldn't matter whether it's the same day, 5 minutes later, or 2 days later. If I see a setup, I've got to take it. So that's made me change my opinion to trade in more than one winning trade in a day. I kind of like the fact of going away on a winning trade when ultimately it shouldn't matter whether it's 2 minutes after the last trade or 2 days. If it's a setup, I've got to commit and take it. So it worries me less and less now. And I think as your skill level starts to climb, you'll start to have that belief that you know enough now to be able to get it right 8 or 9 times out of 10. And when you get to that level, you start to get that, like I'm starting to get now, the last few weeks, I'm starting to get that belief. Because when you learn to trade, there's so many times you're going to fail. It's very hard to believe you're ever going to do it. And you focus so much on the shit you feel and the bad feelings and the frustration. But what you don't realise, all that is giving you lessons after lessons, and they're really valuable lessons. And after, you'll get to a point where you'll start to think, I'm starting to get it now. And your confidence level and belief will start to climb. But it's a big journey of 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But, you know, I've always had that, always had that theory that if you want something bad enough and you just keep trying, you'll get there. But it ain't easy. I haven't found it easy anyway. I dare say there are some people that learn a bit quicker. There's bound to be, but for me, I'm quite stubborn, and I threw money at this thinking that was the answer, and it wasn't. I know Daniel, I think he was making money in a couple of years, but it wasn't like that for me. But yeah, don't be scared of it. If you think it's a trade, you have to take it. And that's how you learn. If you're scared, it might be because, you've got too much money at risk. If you were risking $1, you wouldn't be scared, would you? So I think the trouble is with all the money we people are making from prop firms, and it costs you a very small amount to be able to trade a very big amount. We all try and rush things. I certainly have. I want to get there. I want to get to payment level. And you take risks and you take trades and you think, oh, if I just take enough risks, I'll get there. And after a while, you start to realise that if I'd have just taken me time, I'd have been there a lot sooner. 7 points away from my breaking back down through the 6,000s. Yeah. So, yeah. Point contract size important. It is, yeah. Trouble is, we all rush. I'm probably one of the worst at it. You know, you hear people with 20 accounts withdrawing to withdraw $40,000. That's a huge amount of money. That's not pocket change. And you kind of want to get there, and you rush and you go for big, and you rush and you go for big. And you're doing yourself a disservice, really, but you don't realise it at the time. And after some time, you start to think, instead of rushing for the last 2 years, if I'd have taken my time, I'd have had nice accounts by now. But it is a learning curve, and you kind of have to. Some people pick it up easier, some people don't. Some people are better with emotions, some people aren't. I've felt it. It hasn't been easy. There's been times where I've found it's affecting my mood. I get a bit more snappy at home. My wife said I used to dread you coming down from trading, but I'm not like that anymore. I'm much happier. Trade similar to yours, but just ended. Took the same entry, but much bigger perspective and measured move. I finished a few minutes after yours. Go Penguin. Yeah, I like Penguin. He's if you don't watch the Penguin guy, watch him. It's very similar to Max, but he goes for slightly. Have a look. You'll get it. If you're a Pats trader, you'll understand what he's doing, and it makes sense, and it kind of gives you a bit more breathing space as well. So I sort of have a little bit of a combination. Underestimated the mental side. Absolutely, am me. I think everybody does, mate. Because it looks so easy. You see this coming down and you think, all I've got to do is sell it. How hard can it be? And it surprises you. It really does. I've done lots of jobs I have over the years, and I've never done anything that's this hard. Never. Jobs take time if you want to be a bricklayer. It's not going to happen overnight. It takes 3 or 4 years to get competent. But the difference is, at the end of the week, you're getting paid, whereas this, it cripples you financially before you get to a place that you can start earning money. It's very, very few people that happens to. Goes for more points. He's super disciplined as well. Yeah, he has, yeah. I am trading is the YouTube channel. I am trading. Yeah, Joe, isn't it? Yeah, Joe. I say hello to him from time to time. I haven't done lately, but that's why Mac reviews are insufficient. Just marking up trades and not explain more. Yeah, it's hard to understand what's going on, isn't it? I mean, I found it hard initially seeing why am I not finding a dozen trades a day? Do you know what I mean? Seen as brilliant. Yeah, most of us could comment. Yeah, Joe. He's all right. He's a nice bloke, isn't he? But yeah, I mean, yeah, saying that again, you can't unsee. You once you've seen what happens, you can't judge things the same way. In real time, you don't know what's going to happen. You just have to rely on your skills and your knowledge. But ultimately, if I knew what was going to happen, I'd be holding on still. But you kind of hope that you're right. But when you see that happen, I'd say, okay, I'd avoid that one. That one worked. That one worked anyway. As we know, trades up here. You may say that little bar there, I left that because I didn't like what I was seeing, but you could mark that as a second entry long because it worked. Second entry long, maybe not quite, but you could mark that. it's a lot easier when you know where price has gone. It just, it's just there, isn't it? So this to me now is more likely to go up. It may come down and retest this line, but how long have I been going for? 2 hours and 25 minutes. In fact, I'm going to finish now, actually. I'm getting a bit hungry. But there you go. So this is 3 trades, the most trades I've taken in one day for a long time. Shame about that one, but that's fine. I don't mind learning a lesson there. Made my journey way longer than it should have been. Thank God for Thomas Wade, yeah. Mac's a lovely bloke. He's a lovely bloke. But at how he marks things, and I think it's just because he's been doing it so long, he's probably forgotten what it's like from an inexperienced trader, and it can be a bit confusing. But for the little he charges you, to have all that information on his site and to get that review, I think it's priceless. But yeah, after a while, you start to think, I want to find out about, what's going on. His videos for 5-10 years and what. Yeah, if you're bored one day, go back and look at some of his older videos. In fact, there's one video where he moves his own stop out. It was quite nice to see, actually. I think he's ready for retirement. He is on about retiring. But yeah, he's probably forgotten what it's like to be a new trader, but he's put such a lot of hard work and so many hours into those YouTube videos and that information, and for a tiny amount. So I'm grateful I came across him, because I wouldn't be kind of where I am now, feeling like I'm actually getting somewhere. And what I like about him as well, he doesn't fill your head full of dreams. He tells you it as it is. He doesn't bullshit you. He says it's harder than you think. Stick on a sim, blah, 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 which is something none of us ever listen to. But yeah, he's a nice bloke. But yeah, I wish he'd do a few things differently, but then life's perfect, is it? But he is on about retiring, I think. I don't think it'll be much more than a year or two. But there you go. Is this channel going to continue down? Maybe it is. So I am done for the day, folks. I'm going to go and have my dinner. Play Ella for tea. So interesting day today. I've learnt a little lesson myself, and there has been a couple of really nice setups, which I can't often say I see, to be honest with you. I love that, and I adore that one. I think that's a little beauty. Leg down, 2 legs up. That's going down all day long for me, so I am sorted. So if you're carrying on trading, best of luck. Failing that, I'll be back tomorrow. But yeah, anytime you want to chat trading or whatever you want to talk about, you can private message me on the Facebook group. You'll see me Facebook and private message me, or you can email me, whatever you want to do. Wow, look at that. Yeah, you too, buddy. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great evening. Stay safe, and we'll do it all again tomorrow. Bye for now.